but we're not quite getting that. Getting quite a lot of oversteer actually, which is a lot of fun. Definitely feels Mustang-y, because that's the most important. That is the most important part when you buy yourself a bloody EV, okay? It's a bloody Mustang. Hey guys, check this out. We are here with the Ford Mustang. We're actually here with the GT, although we have tried the whole range today, starting from the Select, which starts at just under $80,000, up to the GT that we have here, which is 108,000 Australian dollars. So definitely not cheap, but you do get a Mustang SUV. Does it live up to the name? Well, we're gonna talk about that in today's very comprehensive review. So we're gonna take you for an exterior tour of the new Mustang Mach-E, what makes it Mustang-y and actually pretty damn cool looking. We're gonna check out its practicality. We're gonna move on to the interior, see what that is like, because there's some pretty cool tech on the inside. Then we are going to drive this thing. We're gonna start by driving the middle of the range, the premium, and we're gonna drive the GT, of course, as well, which is super powerful. Then we're gonna launch both of those cars, see just how quick they are from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour, and then we're gonna take the GT on track and see how does it perform. So, a lot to get through today, but it's a really fun video. Let's get into it. Okay, so let's start with the exterior thing, and very quickly, if you wanna learn more about this, you can head to our website, CarSauce.com. We have a detailed written review. I've pinned it down in the comments section below, but what is the exterior looks like of the Ford Mustang Mach-E? It's actually pretty good looking. So you have these really nice headlights here, especially for this GT trim. Cool daytime running light there, that's also your turning signals, and they're pretty bright LEDs as well. You have some functional aero to streamline air across the side, but of course a plugged up grille. If you go for the GT, you get this like 3D effect, which is nice. You've also got a pony badge there, which some of you are gonna scream at, because this is a family SUV, but it does have some pretty damn decent driving dynamics, so it's got that going for it. Down the bottom, you have a more aggressive splitter. You've also got some functional aero that opens and closes depending on whether you need your aircon on your car or the battery needs cooling, things like that. And also, this is finished in grabber blue, which is grabbing my heart, making me love it. Let's check out the side. Okay, so coming to the side here, you're gonna see these 20-inch wheels with some very, well, there's a lot going on there with the spokes. You've also got some Brembo brakes here. You get that as part of the GT package, and some Pirelli P0 tires, which actually do a decent amount of gripping, as you'll see when we launch these cars. Here we have the charge port, and I'll put up on the screen now just how fast this thing charges, because you know me. I'm an idiot, and I've already forgotten. Down the bottom, you have Mach-E 4X. A lot of badges. Essentially what that means is that this is the all-wheel drive, being the GT. We'll go back to the specs when we drive this thing. And X meaning that it's got an extra range because it's got the bigger 91 kilowatt hour battery. Some interesting design stuff. So 360 camera, that's not very interesting, but it is a very good 360 camera. It doesn't have door handles. So you press a button here, it pops open. You use this clear afterthought to open it up and close it there as well. No door handles, which does look a bit weird. In terms of how you do it for the back, well, they haven't struck one of those afterthoughts on the back, so you just press the button and you grab it anyway. Don't worry about jamming your fingers. They've thought about that. It's got a little actuator that pops in and out. And otherwise, this is a very swoopy coopy. It's a bloody Mustang. Maybe, depending on what your thoughts are. Let's check out the bum. Okay, so coming to the bum of the Ford Mustang Mach-E, what's it like? Well, it does look kind of Mustang-y. So you've got these three-prong tail lights here with a cool 3D effect to them as well. That looks actually pretty decent. GT badge, so if you get the GT, you get the GT badge. Everything else gets the pony badge, which frankly I prefer. Down the bottom, you get some black plastic, because it wouldn't be an SUV without that, would it? Also very coupé-like. Otherwise, there's not much going on. So it actually looks really good, in my humble opinion. The other thing as well, if we come over here, press a little button there, let's see what it can fit inside of its bum. Well, actually quite a lot. So with all rows up, there's only one, you do get plenty of space in there. You've also got a little bit of underfloor storage as well, so that's good. You can also drop the second row and get even more space. You've got a 12-volt socket there too, and a little Easter egg, a little Mustang badge inside of the small light in the back. Very cool. Okay, so coming now into the Ford Mustang Mach-E. What's it like? Well, it's actually a really nice place to be. Like, genuinely, they've done some good design. For example, there's a bloody sound bar that runs the length of this interior. And no matter what trim you go for, the Select up to the GT, you get a really nice interior. In fact, these come pretty much fully loaded with acoustic glass and, you know, a full sunroof that's got some sort of coating on it to make it cool in here. And to be fair, it's pretty nice. So yes, design is very good. You've also got Alcantara here and here. Although if you do search up here, it gets a little bit scratchy, which is quite interesting. I wouldn't have really expected that. Anyway, leather steering wheel feels nice to hold in the hands with a little pony badge there. The seats are a bit weird. They're a bit on the weird end. They're very supportive and they're very nice. We've been driving these on track and they work really well, although they just have a strange design to them. I don't know. Something a little bit strange. So yes, very supportive, although I will say it's a bit weird that there's no adjustable leg support. Like even if you raise this button here, it just lifts up the whole seat. Thankfully though, you do get a lot of support. So at 5'11", I'm not struggling, and often I do struggle because I've got weirdly long legs. Other things in here as well that are awesome. Storage, it's huge. So you get a little storage area here. You get a couple little phone slots here. One of them is a wireless charger, a couple of cup holders there. This GT center armrest is nice. You can also pull that back. Heaps of storage in there too. And a USB-C port, USB-A port. You've also got a decent sized glove box, and here you've got a decent sized door bin too. So actually storage in here for a mid-sized SUV is genuinely really, really good. How is tech? Because that's the most important. That is the most important part when you buy yourself a bloody EV, okay? It's okay. So you have a little digital instrument cluster here. It's like, I say it's little, it's very wide, but not very tall. I've never seen that before. It's also not like very customizable, but it shows enough information, so I'm not gonna complain. You get a massive display here. It's like 16 inches or something, so actually really good. It does have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto navigation, really responsive. Your aircon controls are in here, but it's not hard to use. It's very much like a Ford Ranger, except there are no physical controls. Still, I've had no issues with it today, so I really can't complain. So yeah, the interior is genuinely a nice place to be. Let's check out the back seats. Okay, so coming into the back now, and it is really impressive. I do want to talk about this though. You got to look at a little nub to open the door. It works, just interesting. Everything's electric these days. So I'm 5'11". I have heaps of legroom. Toe room is actually really good, and headroom is really good. The thing I worry about in most EVs is because the battery is in the floor in that skateboard configuration, you can often have a raised floor. So that means that your legs can be at a weird angle. Happy to report, legs are at a good angle here as well. The seats too, they're a nice like Alcantara leather. I think they call it like mica suede or something. Whatever it is, it's nice. Lots of support here on the outboard seats. The inboard one is just like really soft. So I don't know if I would love to sit on that for a long journey because my bum would literally be on the battery. You pull this down, nice leather armrest with a couple of cup holders. Amenities too back here, pretty good. You got 2 air vents and a USB-C port and USB-A port. No map pockets, which is a little bit strange, but the good thing is quality back here is also nice. So it definitely feels like a premium place to be. But here in the GT, when you're spending like 110 grand, you kind of expect that. But it's a nice place to be. Okay, so let's jump in the premium now and see what that's like to drive. Okay, so driving the Ford Mustang Mach-E. We're starting off in the premium, but don't worry, we will be driving the GT. I want to give it a little bit of sauce. Let's do it. It's definitely not slow, that is for sure. So the premium is mid-range. It's rear-wheel drive, but with the bigger 91 kilowatt hour battery, and it puts out 216 kilowatt of power, 430 Newton meters of torque. And so when you do put your foot down, it's actually really, really quick. This thing also has the best range, at least claimed WLTP range is 600 kilometers, which for WLTP standards is really good. And you can see here we have a 74% charge left with still 370 or so kilometers of range. So look, it's not going to be 600 kilometers, but you'll easily reach 500 kilometers plus. So that's actually really good for an EV. Now, it is a bit annoying that you have to go into the screen here, go to vehicle, and oh, no, it's not even there. Where is it? Yeah, this isn't great. Settings? What's going on? Oh, here we go. So we're in whisper mode at the moment, which is, you know, the slower driving. It's for adverse weather conditions, essentially eco mode. Put it into active and we get more power. Generates more sound. The thing is, no matter what mode you're in, if you floor it, you're still gonna get untamed. So the steering wheel becomes really quite heavy. You put your foot down, sound picks up, but it does feel pretty cool. You turn a corner as well. It's very solid, very stable. The thing I'm liking most about this though is the suspension tuning. So we get what's called the Irish suspension tune. So it's not as firm as what you'll get in the US, but it still doesn't body roll too much. There's definitely a little bit here. You do get the MagneRide suspension in the GT model, which frankly is better because it's essentially adaptive dampers, but using magnets, and it changes 1,000 times per second. But this is still a very decent tune, even on these standard springs. I'll tell you what, it is a bit of fun. Now, as to the debate of, is it a real Mustang? I'm gonna leave that up to you. To be honest, it depends how you slice it, right? The first Ford Mustang was a 4-cylinder, light, small coupe. It was essentially a cheap sports car. As the years have gone on, it's grown bigger and bigger and turned into the GT, or the Grand Tourer. So you could argue that the 8-cylinder GT is not a real Mustang. Or you could argue that this Mustang SUV, being a Grand Tourer, is more of a Mustang than it was originally. I mean, it depends how you slice it. But as you'll see when we take this thing on track, it is still a lot of fun. Mustang or not, it's actually pretty impressive. The one thing I am noticing is a bit of road noise. It is noticeable. I'm getting a lot of wind noise, and I'm also getting quite a lot of road noise from the tires. So something to keep in mind. But still, you can really chuck it. The back end wants to come out. It's quite a bit of fun. It handles like you would expect a Mustang to handle. So yeah, overall, I'm pretty impressed. Before we take the GT onto the track, let me tell you about the other options in the range. So the Select is the entry model into the range. It actually comes with a different battery, a 72 kilowatt hour battery. It also has a different chemistry to it as well. So it's less of a good battery, I'll put it that way. It weighs the same as the 91 kilowatt hour batteries that you get in the higher trims. Still, it is rear wheel drive, and it pumps out a decent 198 kilowatt of power, 430 Newton meters of torque. That means compared to the premium we're driving now, it's just down on power a little bit. But of course, the halo of the range is the GT. That comes with the same 91 kilowatt hour battery as this premium, except it steps up to all-wheel drive, which means it does lose range. The WLTP for that goes down to 490 kilometers, which is still decent, but certainly not spectacular. But it does put out a mega 358 kilowatt of power, 860 Newton meters of torque. Okay, so the other thing I want to test out is the autonomous driving of this thing. So let's press this button here and see how it goes. Doing a pretty decent job of keeping us in the middle of the lane, holding onto the steering wheel as you should do anyway. Doesn't seem to be yanking anything out of my hands. Pretty good. I'm happy with that. It's not bouncing us between, it's keeping us nice and centered. Very nice. Okay, so now we're gonna launch the Premium. The thing is that this thing has acoustic glass, and so that helps to reduce road noise on the inside, but it also means that the Specialist timing gear is struggling for some reason on this car to get through the glass signal. So we're gonna mount it on the outside and hope that we don't lose it. So be right back. Okay. It's working. Let's launch it now, finally. So we're gonna put the car into drive, obviously. We've got the car in untame mode, and then we're gonna brake boost launch it and hope for the best. And then after this, we'll launch the GT, and hopefully that works on the inside. So let's try this. Brake boosting it, here we go. Relatively gentle. That's 100. Okay, so now I have to go out of the car to see how well we did. Give me one moment. Hey, that was pretty good. 0 to 100 in 6.82 seconds. I'll take that. But now let's launch the GT. All right, so now we're gonna launch the Ford Mustang Mach-E GT. I've got my carer over here. What's your name again?
My name's Luke. Nice to meet you.
We're not gonna die, I hope. We have our Specialist timing gear here, and let's just do it. So we're gonna brake boost it. Fights for the brakes, there you go. We're gonna brake boost it anyway. Here we go. It's quick. All right, we're gonna try that again. We were in Untame Plus, but now we're gonna try this in Untame, which should give us a bit more traction and just be a bit faster in a straight line. All right, again, brake boost launching it. Here we go. Oh, that did feel faster. Pretty good, 0 to 100 in 4.23 seconds. Not quite 3.8 seconds, but I'll take it. All right, let's drive this thing on track. Okay, so now we are driving the Mach-E on track. I'm really curious to see how this thing performs, because generally speaking, EVs have it on cheat mode with the battery down in the floor in that skateboard configuration, but they can kind of not do so well once you're on the track. Oh, back end's coming out. That's pretty fun, actually. Usually they understeer like crazy, especially when they're all-wheel drive like this. But we're not quite getting that. Getting quite a lot of oversteer, actually, which is a lot of fun. Definitely feels Mustang-y. I can get why they're saying that it's a Mustang, even though it goes against all my sensibilities. But this is not a bog standard EV SUV that they've kind of just turned into a Mustang, just put a badge on it. It genuinely drives really, really well. And if you think about what a Mustang really is, you know, do we really know? This one's a bit hairy. So this is gonna really test the handling. Usually they, again, would understeer quite a lot. I'm feeling a bit of snapping. I don't know if I love that. But I will give it to them that that was pretty good. Coming into our last corner here. For a car without a diff, it's doing pretty damn well. All right, let's get into our final thoughts. Alrighty, so final thoughts on the new Ford Mustang Mach-E. I know that was a lot to get through, but I actually think that this is a really compelling entry into electric vehicles in Australia for Ford. This is their first fully electric passenger car, and it's actually pretty damn impressive. Whether or not it's a Mustang, I'll leave that up to you to let me know down in the comment section below. And when you compare it to something like a Tesla Model Y, it does give you some really unique styling, probably a nicer interior, and more comfortable on-road driving. So that's a win in my books. But you can let me know what you guys think down in the comment section just below that like button. Ciao for now.